Hello and welcome back to Dungeon Music Theater. Tonight we are taking a look at some Eurorack granular synthesizers. Past couple of weeks I've been playing around with the GR1 by Tasty Chips and it's been great. It's got a large screen, bunch of knobs, no menu diving, very easy to get great musical results. The Eurorack format is a bit more limiting in the best way possible because it has to fit into this format and it's got to play well with others, which means it's got CV controls and other kinds of things that allow you to interconnect the module to other devices. So I've chosen the little riff from one of my favorite shows, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and kind of did this bass groove. I have it sampled into Ableton as a live loop and then loaded some of the melodic elements of it onto the Nebula or the Nebulae and got some fun, hilarious results. Well, hilarious. It's interesting. Again, exploratory. So hope you guys will like it. So I'm going to be going back and forth from the recorded feed and my commentary. I like to just, play instruments, not a bass player, but I love goofing around with it. And, with warp features, you can make yourself sound pretty good. It's got a little bit of saturation on there. So this is sort of the loop that's going to be playing. And then as usual, I'm going to play the little melody, which is super cool. And then I'm going to take this melody and load it into the Nebula and kind of play around with it. Now, I did a bunch of stuff with it. I don't know why. I just chose the bass guitar. Obviously, bass guitar is not the best for making layered sounds, but then, that's sort of the spirit of these kinds of little 5-6 minute things that I'm doing. Just grab a random instrument around the house and track it in there and see what happens. Yeah, so now that was a weird. It just sounds like a tape loop. And again, my patching is super limited, so it's not really doing justice to what it can do. But because my end goal was to have the experience of this little improv thing be somewhat musically interesting and not be so disorienting, a couple of riffs that I did, it just became just a wash of stuff, especially when I tried to kind of granular synthesize the groove. So I just kept the groove in Ableton and then loaded the melody. When I tried to CV control the melody, it just became a giant mess. I tried to, put an LFO through one of the speed controls or the pitch parameters. It just sounded really goofy. Again, it may just be the source material, and I was, again, there's just so many possibilities. It's endless, and I just decided for this few hours, hey, let's just come up with something bizarre, but at least have it be somewhat musical, for me. And so the thing that I really liked about this was that I would just freeze it and then kind of play around with the speed control back and forth, and that was the most fun I had. And so it seems like with this particular source material, because you got to really think a lot about what kind of source material you want to load up to these granular synthesizers. Oftentimes I've seen people load up, little oscillators and other kinds of things. I'm more like, I want to load up like live or real instruments and see what happens. And just because I feel like there's a lot more harmonics there and there's more interesting things to chop up. But also because it's so rich, if you're not careful, it just becomes like mud. So, that track was a little repetitive, but I think there's little bits of something there as I get better at it and better understand how to use it. Again, I barely scratched the surface, like, again, not even patched to anything, just because when I was doing that, it wasn't getting the results that I wanted. But you can have endless hours of fun, I think, with just trying to patch a few things to automate some of the things I was doing by hand. But yeah, it was a lot of fun though. Ultimately, that's what nerdy fun, which is what I like to do. So again, learned a lot about how these modules could be used and how it could be used for other things. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much.